Alongside Katie Windham, I am Austin Hannon. This is BamaCentral's Instant Analysis. Alabama drops its first home game since 2019, losing to Texas 34-24 tonight here at Bryant-Denny Stadium. Katie, we talked on Joe Gaither's show yesterday. We talked all week about, the keys and everything to the game, what Alabama needed to do. Obviously not turn the ball over, create pressure, make things difficult for Quinn Ewers. And they didn't really do any of those things tonight well. So it's honestly probably a surprise that they only lost by 10 points the way they performed. I think in the first half, Texas really didn't put the foot down. They really didn't do it until the fourth quarter, and that's why Alabama lost by 10 points. Texas scored 10 points off turnovers, both of them pretty bad by Jalen Milroe, and they won the game by 10 points. So, what were your biggest takeaways from the loss tonight, and what can this team do to move forward from this?
Yeah, I said yesterday on Joe's show, I think that they would need to limit turnovers, limit penalties, and limit explosive plays. And XXX failed in all those areas tonight. So it's really kind of, in a way, that game's an anomaly in the Saban era, and the fact that they lose by 10 points at home, they lose at home, period. That doesn't happen very often. They get way outgained in yards, have way more penalties. But then in the scope of the last couple of years, it's not really an anomaly. It's the way this team has played. And so, the players, when we talk to them after the game, they say they're working on getting better. There's things they can do to get better. They still believe in this team. They still think they can win a national championship. But will we actually see those things? We heard them talk about things in the offseason that we saw good glimpses of last week against Middle Tennessee. But even Saban said tonight in his opening statement that he told the players this would be the first real test to figure out where they were, and they failed tonight. It's crazy, in a way you say the 10 points difference was that turnovers, but almost all of Texas's drives can be traced back to either an Alabama turnover or a big penalty to start the drive or that aided the drive. So in a way, it's crazy that it was as close as 10 points. Then also you look at the end of the third quarter, Alabama scores a touchdown to go ahead for the first time. Last play of the third quarter was, I think, just a short run for Texas, so second and long-ish to start the fourth quarter. What happens? Alabama penalty. From that point on, it was just the fourth quarter. It seemed like Alabama didn't have maybe that same intensity they had in the third quarter, where they were able to shut them out. And so what can they do to fix it? What do they need to do to fix it? I think a lot of people are going to question Jalen Milroe's performance, and rightfully so. It wasn't great. But there was issues all around. The offensive line did not look good in run blocking or pass protection. Didn't give them a ton of time to throw. Or even just like the basics of snapping the ball. The defense gave up over 450 yards for the first time since 2021, and gave up a lot of those big plays. Didn't have as good a tackling. Had the undisciplined penalties, and so it's not just one person or one unit that needs to improve. Really, special teams were kind of the highlight of the game. Will Riker went 3 for 3 like he normally does. James Burnell looked great. Punting, which is something you maybe don't want to hear, is how good your punter looked. But that's at least an encouraging sign for Alabama. But offensively and defensively, there's a lot that needs to be fixed.
I'm glad you brought up the game last week, because there were a lot of takeaways from that game. Obviously, they looked great. They did everything kind of well that they were trying to do better this year. And so that gave fans and me and Katie and everybody that covers the team, okay, maybe they're going to be better at those things this year. And they come out tonight and reverse all of that, have 10 penalties. Had 15 in Austin
twice,
last year.
Don't force any turnovers, even though their balls on the ground multiple times.
Turnovers. That's another thing that they said they wanted to do. They did it last week. They didn't do it tonight. So lots to get better at. The good thing for Alabama, it's not the BCS title anymore. One loss doesn't kill you, but you got to be perfect the rest of the way, and that includes a potential matchup with Georgia, and you got to play Tennessee and LSU still. You still got to go to. You got a lot of good teams left on the schedule. The good news for Alabama, it does start a little bit easier. Next week they'll have a chance to bounce back against a USF team that won one game last year. So me and Katie, and as well as Blake Byler, will be down in Tampa, Florida next Saturday afternoon against USF. For Katie Windham, I'm Austin Hannon. Take the loss, but next week Alabama will restart its quest for the 19th national championship in program history. Good night, everyone.